What's going on, YouTube? In this video, we are going to look at some shorts that I took on Friday. This was January 16th, I believe, all stemming from this level here, moving down to this zone. We're going to look at the open, how the volume profile built, how the market behaved around this level, and just the fact that, look, this is a volume build that led to a move lower, found a bid here, came back, and now they are testing to see if they can get some auction back into this range or just to fall back through. So this is going to be the replay. And this is at 5x currently, just to kind of speed things along, because this is going to be really volume profile focused here. So this is that level. If they can trade higher, they're going to have to hold and sustain the prices. They're going to have to build volume and really spend more time up here versus down here. Right away, you can see that this is not a resolved low. This is very highly likely to trade again. So I'm already seeing this. I'm already considering, okay, if they start to struggle above this range, this level, and they can't really build, they can't really find enough interest to auction, likely they're going to go down, they're going to resolve this, or they're going to trade it, and it's going to be around VWAP. And if this doesn't hold, we're going to go through to the next zone here. So again, build a volume, trade lower, pretty thin, right? They get a bid, they come back up, and now they're trying to see, okay, does the market accept this range again? And if it doesn't, they're going to go seek lower prices again, and it's pretty thin. If you look at this, it's super thin. And if we do trade these lows and they start to build and accept it, yeah, likely price will start making its way to this zone again. So that's my idea. That's, immediately, that's what I saw this morning. We're already getting a build here. They need forward progress, or this could be trapped participants. So again, this is 5x replay. I'm just going to kind of see, this is still not the best high. It's a little better now, better than before, and now they're already starting to work lower. So you can see most of the trade, even on the time of sales, it's pretty sell side. Every time they inch above this line, they don't hold it for long. Tape is really negative down here. It's just really heavy on the sell pressure, right? And again, this is that volume that didn't really get what they wanted. So they're moving down, and a key thing to note is this volume profile. This low still pretty flat. This is not a great low. The profile overall is very 45-degree angle. It's not really a taper, right? It's not how these things generally resolve. So when I trade the open, I look to exploit these kinds of things. If I'm looking at shorts and the market's showing an inability to really sustain trade above this level, I'm going to look to fade it, time and time again. And it gives a pretty good runway, right? The level is here. We'll say 870s. And the low, which I still don't think is the low, is quite a ways lower. So you could get shorts in this range and get paid in this range still, and even lower. So these are good opportunities that can be, taken advantage of at the open when the profile is still not really developed. You can use intuition, right, to get some edge in the markets. So let's continue with the replay. And again, they're trying to auction this higher. There's a low volume area now. They're still having trouble just sustaining auction up here. So the tape is still pretty negative. Time and sales, a lot of selling still coming in. Still struggling and still just really trading this lower range, versus anything above this line. And finally, they come up again. They're doing some auctioning and they're still struggling, right? They come up past the low volume area into this range where these buyers were. And again, They fail. They trap even more on the upside, and now it's really working lower. Still trading this range. So what I'm doing is I'm getting shorts in this range up here, and I'm just constantly scalping out of some, holding some, scalping out of some, getting some more, scalping out of some, holding some, because the risk reward is really good in these situations, right? And this is still not, convincing me that, okay, we're done moving lower. At this point, you're very likely going to tap VWAP. And so the market does what it's doing. We're still mostly transacting in this lower range. Every time they pop upside, not much gets done, or they get trapped again. So this is still 5x here, working lower. It's going to tap VWAP. So at this moment, once it taps VWAP, I'm flat. I'm flat on the trade because this can certainly hold. I love to long the VWAP, especially, during a period when it hits VWAP for the first time. So let's note this. It's definitely improved. The volume profile, the way it looks. Now there's another node building right above VWAP. This is a scenario where if they cut through VWAP and they start to build below VWAP, there's not going to be much in the way of price just making the way back to this zone. So, at this moment, I'm flat, and I want to see whether the market can continue to transact below VWAP and hold it, right? For continuation lower. So, market's moving. It's moving. Still 5x replay. Volume's building. It's definitely building, and it's moving lower, but still, this is not enough, right? You get a big bid. You guys can see the time in sales. Price pops up. So this is important to note. This was, we'll say prior support. Breached, coming back. They need to be able to bid through this to see the upside, right? Because volume built. What does that mean? Two-way trade. Buyers and sellers are present here. If the market then broke lower, this indicates that there are more sellers than buyers in this range. If this holds true, the market is not really going to have any juice to go upwards. Too many sellers, not enough buyers. So this is going to be an important place to note, all the order flow activity. That this was pretty thin up here. They need to push through this and build interest here. So let's continue. They do also have a low volume little node here. And so let's see what happens, right? You're seeing buying coming in again. Look at the delta, look at the time of sales, look at the tape in this range now. And it looks like they're struggling, right? Still not enough buyers. And if they can't get through this low volume spot, they're going to continue to build. And this is not the greatest taper. This is pretty 45 degrees, unfinished. And if you look at where the volume's transacting, it's transacting here. There's not much interest in this range. There was prior, but where is it now, right? That tells you a lot. So the market starts to go even lower. You can see selling come through the tape. Where is volume building? Lower now. Where is it not building? Higher. And you can still see buying coming in. So let's pause this again. Another cluster right here. So we'll get rid of this box for now. Look at all this buying here. They can't push through VWAP anymore. So that's going to be an issue for the long side for sure. And, at this point, let's just go ahead and speed this tape up. We'll go 10x and let's watch this move lower, right? The tape is still pretty negative. Volume's building lower, and there aren't any imbalances on this move. This is a very efficient move. They're literally chewing through the bid in the market. It's not that the bid does not exist. You can see it on the tape. You can see that there are no imbalances. Here's some right here. But they're still chewing through, right? They're chewing through. As we got this imbalance and the market tried to go back into it, what happened? A lot of buying. A lot of buying that led to still no one willing to buy this range. What happens then? You move lower. Look at the tape. Everything is just screaming sell side at this point, right? So, like we noted earlier, pause this again. If the market's not going to be able to hold or transact back into this range and accept it, find acceptance again, it's likely going to go through, test the downside, and if it cracks this level, if it cracks this range, there's not much in the way of this zone. So we're literally seeing that occur now, and it's a really efficient move. They are literally chewing through all the bid on the sell side. Look at how heavy this tape is. Every time the market starts to try to buy, they get nothing for it. So this is a big node that's building, and they lose it, which means a lot of buyers just got pushed off sides. And now they are into the zone. So on the flip side, at what point does it start to go the other way then? Well, let's look at a few things. They are building a lot of volume here. Again, two-way trade, buyers and sellers. It's not until the market finds a range where there are more buyers than sellers that it can look to go the other way. We are pretty extended from the 9 at this point, right? And they're finding some buying. It's here. But this is important. The market needs to transact above this through this low volume area and hold any attempt back into this range. That would indicate that now there are more buyers present than sellers, right? So this is also a good example. You can see a lot of sellings coming in. Look at the delta by price, and then they buy through it. The tape is now really positive. They're buying through it, coming back into this range, and it holds. The bid steps up with it, starts reloading this range, and it starts reloading higher. It's pushing price higher. But it wasn't until volume was lost the other way, right? So very, very key things that you got to look out for. When the market was moving lower, it's just building lower. It's never leaving volume behind the other way. Never. The only time volume got left behind was this, earlier towards the open. They tried to buy it through, they got stuck, got left behind, and it just started building lower and lower and lower and lower until this moment. They got a big build, finally transacted above, came back to it. The lack of sell interest in the bid starts inching up, flooding in, pushing price higher. Now, going back to the volume profile, this is not the best taper again. Right, it's pretty 45 degrees. It doesn't really seem exhaustive. And so what happens then? They come back to this range where, there wasn't really too much interest, right? And they're going to see, is there enough now? Right, they're buying. But they're having trouble getting this to go any higher, right? And so as the market starts to work downwards, these buyers, they could puke. Right? If they don't get forward progress, this can puke, and this would be the kind of thing that would lead to a new low, right? So still 10x. Let's just see how it shakes out. They went back to this range. Then, they're getting a little bounce, but ultimately it goes nowhere. Look at this taper in volume. And now they're going lower and a new low. Still volume is choosing to transact lower after this, even here. So it was good for a nice little bounce, right? But ultimately, if you're looking at the volume profile, it gives a lot of clues, So that's the recording. Engagement's been pretty good on these. It seems like it's been helpful to a lot of people. I appreciate all the support. And for now, goodbye, YouTube.